Hello, my name is Vaishnavi Mande, and I will be presenting our work on the deaf user's preferences among wake up approaches during sign language interaction with personal assistant devices. This work is conducted at Rochester Institute of Technology along with my colleagues Abraham Glaser and Becca Dingman under the guidance of Professor Matt Hunafau. Personal assistant devices like Amazon Alexa and Google Nest are becoming popular and ubiquitous in our day to day lives. As these smart speakers and smart screens are voice controlled, they are inaccessible to the deaf and hard of hearing users. Hence, researchers are looking into alternate interaction modalities such as sign language interactions, which is preferred by the deaf and hard of hearing users. In this work, we assume that these devices will understand sign language in the future. We explore the device wake up interaction, which is the interaction that is used by the users to get the device's attention. We start by interviewing 21 American Sign Language signers to gather ideas on the wake up interactions. We identify 6 wake up approaches and evaluate them with 12 ASL signers with the help of video prototypes. In this video, we present the preferences of the DHH users among these 6 identified wake-up approaches. So the first one is using the device sign name. A sign name is an ASL sign that is used to uniquely identify a person, or in this case, a personal assistant device. This approach is fast to execute and convenient. However, this approach depends on the user's surroundings, like being in the camera range and having sufficient light on the user. The next one is waving in the direction of the device. In deaf culture, it is common to wave in someone's direction to get their attention. Participants indicated that waving in the direction of the device felt comfortable and natural, like interacting with a person. This approach will also be convenient for people who prefer sign language over English. However, this technique is susceptible to accidental wake ups as the device could capture a wave that was not intended for it. In this technique, the user claps to get the device's attention. Participants commented that they found this method to be simple and fast to execute, comfortable, independent of additional devices and camera requirements. However, this technique is not secure as anyone can clap and access the system. It is also susceptible to accidental wake ups, and users would require training to select the appropriate loudness of clapping. The next approach is using remote to get the device's attention. Unlike the previous 3 approaches, using remote requires the users to depend on an additional device. This technique is fast to execute and would likely avoid false positives and negatives. It is familiar as remote controls are ubiquitous. However, participants did not prefer this approach as it does not provide them with a hands free experience. The next approach is using a smartphone app. When discussing this approach, participants raised several factors which were very similar to using a remote control. They believed that this approach will be easy to use but were worried about misplacing their phone or phone battery dying. Similar to the remote approach, they found using a smartphone as a reliable backup. The last approach is fingerspelling the device name. This approach involves signing the English letters of the device name to get its attention. Participants noted that though this method has similar hands free benefits like using sign name, waving, or clapping approaches, this method is slower and more error prone due to spelling mistakes. Based on our findings, we identified that the participant preferences were influenced by convenience and reliability of an approach. They preferred techniques that were easy to use, easy to access, and ones that provided them with a hands free experience. They also had a clear preference for wake up methods that avoided accidental wake ups. Future research should also consider the accuracy of the wake up interaction detection system, privacy of the users, and use of these techniques in different social settings, as these factors influence the DHH users' preferences of the wake up approach. To summarize, we explored 6 wake up approaches, discussed their specific trade offs and the factors of convenience and reliability for the DHH users to interact with personal assistant device that can understand sign language. Thank you.